Pook Media Publishing presents the audiobook edition of The Book of Pook. Learn dating, pickup, seduction, and relationship secrets that only 1% of the world's men know. This is Volume 1, written by Pook and published by Pook Media Publishing. Welcome, friends, to the first part of Volume 1 of the Book of Pook audiobook series. I'm excited to be your guide through the teachings and wisdom contained in this transformative work on attraction and relationships. The Book of Pook has developed an enthusiastic following among men looking to improve their dating lives. Published online in the early 2000s by Pook, it aims to help men gain confidence, independence, and mastery when it comes to relating to women. The Book of Pook audiobook series will explore the entire Book of Pook across 3 volumes. Volume 1, which we are starting, is so rich in ideas that it will be covered in 2 parts. In this first part of Volume 1, we'll learn about core mindsets like cultivating a mentality of being a prize to be won over by women. We'll discuss behaving boldly instead of timidly, accessing your masculine power, and becoming a well-rounded person, leading an interesting lifestyle. The Book of Pook uses colorful allegories and metaphors to illustrate its lessons. We'll meet characters like the Player, DJ Juice, and Manly Man. Their stories teach powerful concepts about dating, seduction, female nature, and more. This first part of Volume 1 contains the vital foundation to absorb the wisdom across all 3 volumes of the Book of Pook. So get ready to start developing the mindsets and behaviors that naturally attract women into your life. You can find the Book of Pook series in paperback on Amazon and official website at www.thebookofpook.com. Now, let's begin exploring the first part of Volume 1. Introduction. A Pook is a Pook. The only reason why I'm here at So Suave is to help myself. I have absolutely no interest in being an authority or star poster or anything of the such. I just want to correct my own flaws and discover life. I don't care about the DJ Bible. I don't care about any of the forum mechanics or the forum custodians or anything of the such. When I do a post, I basically talk to myself. The post is something I've found that helps me. That is why it appears in the tips section. If I wanted to discuss it, it would go into the discussion section. Many people do not understand this distinction and start ranting on my threads and don't understand why I don't respond. There's no need to discuss anything. The posts end up becoming so long because I already put in the questions within the post. There is a trend lately where people do not see the posts, they just see Pook. So when a Pook post appears, they go Pook baiting, term coined by Icepick. A good example of this is the habit is all thread. A very simple message that provided clarity in my life, but obfuscated by nonsensical replies. My mission is to try to correct the Pook. I actually don't care about anything else. Things that help me I put out on the table, since maybe some of you guys have the same problems I did. If the post sounds like Latin to you, then don't consider it. We're all here to fix ourselves, because the focus is on ourselves. I think that was when my big change came, was when I realized I was the problem, not the women. That's why I rage against the focus on women controlling women tactics posts, or rather, when they rage at me. The solution to your problems is not in the woman, but in yourself. But it does take a type of humility to realize that you are the problem. Consider the nice guy. He is right, and the world women are wrong. He is backwards. He is wrong. And the women are right. I've been here for 3-4 years. Looking at my past posts, I can see how A lead into B and then to C and so on. For example, the Kill That Desperation post, for me, slammed the door shut on tricks and tactics. So what else was there to do? After that came Be a Man, which separated sexuality from intercourse. This slammed the door on me on all the lay reports and all. We are in a habit nowadays of defining sexuality only to matters of sex, when, in fact, it goes well beyond intercourse. Thus, a male and a man are not one but 2. Anyone can be androgynous, and being an androgynous is not a virtue, and being masculine is not a vice. Now, who is it that is saying man and woman do not exist in their sexualized forms? Yes, gender theorists. Gender theorists hold that masculinity and femininity are socially imposed. In other words, artificial. I didn't realize they were the source, but I did realize then that something was off sexuality-wise in our world. The nice guys seem not born, but manufactured. So I said, be a man. I want to free sexuality from just intercourse, else the world becomes androgynous and very dull. In Towards Manhood, this thought got dealt with more. I asked a group of guys what a guy does that is male. The only answer they repeated was sex with women. As big of supporter I am of sexing women, it shows that sexuality has been chased away and confined to the bedroom. I believe we're entering a new Puritan age where sexuality is outlawed and allowed only through intercourse. The idea of a woman being feminine or a man being masculine drives some people nuts, as if they think they have a right to tell you how you should act. Life is much more enjoyable as a masculine figure than a nerdy androgynous. Now, here is a good observation. If sexuality is banned from all arenas except for intercourse, where it cannot be banned, what is the result? The result is that society becomes more androgynous. And the result of that is that sexual intercourse becomes more and more hyped and monumentalized. So your grandmother was right. Intercourse is more paraded, more than ever. If you outlaw one part of human sexuality, we just focus on the other part. Sexuality must go somewhere. Also, the Pleasantville analogy of the human race not discovering sex until the 60s is wrong. The 50s and 40s probably had more sex than today. After all, where did the baby boom come from? We are all worms crawling between heaven and earth. The Towards Manhood post went on detailing the heaven link of man. The Secret of the Jerk post details the earth link of man. Personally, I think the Towards Manhood post is a far better post than Secret of the Jerk, because nowadays everyone focuses on the earth link, never on the heaven link, but everyone seems very bent on the earth link. We are all centaurs, and we ride the beast through this world. Both elements of the beast and the mind-soul ought to be understood. What good does it do to cut off the heaven element and make no differences between us and apes, wolves, dogs, or Norwegian rats? Secret of the Jerk 2 focuses on the earth link of sexuality being morality, whereas Brave New World focuses on the heaven link of sexuality being morality. Both are to be dealt with. Posts like Feminism on Trial and such is my attack on what these neo-Puritans, these feminists, are doing with sexuality. I gave up trying to figure out how to get women and understanding women because I kept coming back to defining men. Just as you cannot define day without defining night, so too you cannot define women without defining men. Thus, my focus became placed on sexuality, meaning both sexes and the laws that influence them. I want to mine the secrets of nature to see how that can better myself. I have no desire to be seen as an oracle, and I despise people who see me as one. One thing I still cannot understand is why people talk of Pook as a person. There seems to be a contest going about who can best psychoanalyze the Pook. Alas, I wasn't invited to such a contest, and when I say what I am, people don't believe it. I tell you exactly how I think with my posts, but that is not enough. Pook is either this or that. Consider this thread. I posted here because they kept on talking about Pook, psychoanalyzing him, etc., etc. That pissed me off, as they don't know Pook, and I'm the only one who really does. So the speed seducers came after me. They said, saying be a man is not enough. We need practical advice. Throughout all this, the Secret of the Jerk was on my computer, which dealt very much with the Earth plane. I grew tired of all this and just decided to post the article. And everyone shut up. Why? Because instead of trying to understand themselves, they tried to understand Pook. Pook is this, Pook is that, Pook is Pook. What more needs to be said? Consider a recent example with Power Ego. He accused the Pook of being that term, workaholic, and that I was demanding everyone to become a workaholic. I kept talking to him just so he would keep talking, knowing full well the Fountain of Youth post was on my computer. When I grew tired of him, I just posted Foy and that was that. Look at this quote I got from another board. Quote, The entire foundation of Pook's current predicament is that he has dehumanized women to the point where he considers them to be grossly inferior creatures who are unworthy of his company. Unsurprisingly, that didn't even raise an eyebrow on SS, since that's also the foundation of every other approach to being a playa. Anyone that considers such an attitude to be masculine needs to buy a dictionary. Just because a woman is intelligent doesn't make her masculine. The two are completely unrelated. Likewise, ignorance and self-delusional stupidity are not in the least bit masculine. Pook has taken a path of quasi-intellectual wanking and turned his back on the very nature that he so vigorously plagiarizes the classics to champion. These people condemn the Pook for being an intellectual. By the way, how can you plagiarize the classics? Classics aren't copyrighted, and I haven't even gotten started on the classics and the knowledge of sexuality they hold. Yet some people are currently angry at me because I have been busy bashing intellectuals. So, which is it, guys? Am I an intellectual or not an intellectual? As you can imagine, this is so comedic as would be worthy of the pen of Molière. Lately, some people say, Pook is a misogynist. He hates women. Yet I have a series of posts where a youth goes, evil women, and paints women as evil, and I show that the youth wrong, and that women may very well be the opposite. All these attempts to psychoanalyze the Pook are going to be wrong. Stop worrying about the Pook and worry about yourselves. If you don't like what the Pook says, don't listen to him. Pook is a big fat egotist. Yet I have posts detailing that progress only comes through humility, as one who thinks he knows all the answers will never post anything new, since he knows everything. I have been accused and labeled as everything under the sun. What is funny is even when I am truthful about who I am, like in the Feminism on Trial thread, people don't believe it and think I'm lying. No, I am who I've said I am.